When I was a kid, I always thought it'd be so cool to be in a video game. I could beat up some bad guys, meet some hot fictional characters, and go on the adventure of a lifetime. I'm now 30 years old, and as we get older, it can be hard to find the whimsy and joys of life. I've gone through some of the toughest years that really put my willpower to the test. But RPGs reintroduced the wonder of life that I was missing, and it made me think, what if I frame life like it was an RPG to help me navigate my day-to-day life? What if I relate my story to these characters that I love so much? Then it got me thinking, RPGs are a reflection of life with the stories the developers want to share with the world, based off of human perspective and experiences. My name is Juunibug, and welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Juunibug, and if we have met before, I'm still Juunibug. I'm a more recent but passionate Final Fantasy enthusiast who also enjoys Kingdom Hearts and a variety of Nintendo games. If you like this video, consider liking, subscribing, and following me on my Twitch channel. If you also have any thoughts on the matter, please consider leaving a comment. I love hearing what people think. For starters, the definition of a role-playing game is a game in which players assume and play out the roles of characters in a fictional setting. RPGs have become a distinguished genre and niche throughout the years, whether it's in a tabletop setting or through video games. Pokemon, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, Persona, Clair Obscur are some notable ones to name a few. For the sake of simplification, by the way, JRPGs are just Japanese role-playing games that I will simply refer to as RPGs for the sake of the video, just so it doesn't get too tedious. So please forgive me. Video games, in my opinion, are an additional art form like movies and books, but interactive. You get to decide how to build your parties, choose which spells you want to master, decide some character dialogue, and how you would like to progress the story and side quests if you choose to. So, what are some common elements of an RPG? Sometimes we simplify it to ooga booga, me adventurer, me kill god. But in all seriousness, I think the beauty of RPGs is how long and detailed the journeys are. All these things we do amount to something bigger and are steps forward toward the end goal of the game. And of course, when it comes to gameplay, we tend to associate RPGs with turn-based combat, sometimes with active time battle, or even have action genres. When I finished Final Fantasy VIII, I couldn't believe it. Spoiler alerts for Final Fantasy VIII if you haven't played it yet. How did we go from being a simple student at Balamb Garden to figuring out time compression and traveling to the future to defeat Sorceress Ultimecia? Well, we helped a girl trying to liberate her town of Timber, had some trippy dream sequences about a handsome man named Laguna, attempted an assassination on Sorceress Adia, played some triple triad, landed aboard Fisherman's Horizon with our now flying school, regained our memories at Travia Garden, flew up to the moon, and fell in love, all while having rematches with our rival, Cypher Almazi. And that barely scratches the surface. But doesn't that feel like life? Maybe we fight all these little battles that aren't impactful, but over time, we gain more experience and hone our magic and fighting abilities. All the little experiences we have in life amount to us getting stronger and enriching who we are as a person that shapes us to who we become. Okay, so how else can we apply RPGs to our lives? How can we use gaming to navigate our lives and help us cope with some of our struggles? Let's take it a few steps back. We begin our lives as children. We have families, a hometown, and a culture. All these things define our worldviews, and perhaps we may be predisposed to certain ways of life. Maybe we'll be more religious if our parents choose to raise us as such. If we're exposed to injustice from an early age, maybe we grow up more empathetic and understanding the harshness of reality. The possibilities are endless and, of course, very nuanced. In Final Fantasy II, we meet our main protagonists. Firion, Maria, Guy, and Leon get completely wiped out after they become orphaned due to war. They become determined to fight back and take back their homes from the evil empire who destroys towns for the sake of power. We see their backgrounds quite early on, and they have a clear goal. On the other hand, in Chrono Trigger, we are introduced to Chrono, who is simply heading out to Lean Square to celebrate the Millennium Festival and support his friend Luca as she shows off her inventions. Chrono stumbles across a cute girl named Marl, and they pair up to enjoy the festival together. However, where Marl volunteers to take the portal and is mysteriously sucked away into a time portal. We don't know what the end goal is going to be until we discover the existence of Lavos and how the future is in ruin because of it. So, on one hand, Furion is someone who is exposed to the horrors of war and oppression, while Chrono is a regular guy with a seemingly peaceful upbringing, but both have their own very intricate and complex stories. Just like us, every person you meet is living a life as complex as your own, even if you can't see it on the surface. I generally thought of my life as quite uneventful. Sure, I'm not gonna be swinging around a sword or casting Thundaga spells in a fight against God. In fact, I feel as if my life is quite aimless at times. So, let's frame my life as an RPG, for example. My origin story is that I was a girl born into a family as the youngest, raised in a very Catholic home, homeschooled most of my childhood, and my hobbies were gaming, tennis, and art. However, a big part of my life was religion and the trauma I endured in it because it brought me so much anxiety and fear. My life tends to relate a little more to Yuna of Final Fantasy X for such reasons. If you'd like to hear more about these topics, I recommend referring to a previous video about how Final Fantasy X helped me with my religious guilt. If we continue framing our lives as an RPG, another big thing to consider are relationships. Our party, in this case, are the people we associate with. It could be our childhood best friend, a classmate, a coworker, club member, or someone maybe we even meet in an online video game. Perhaps these are the people we do main quests in, such as undergoing college entrance exams, or maybe we do side quests when we go shopping at the mall for an outfit to wear for a date. Either way, every experience we have together, we gain life experience and sometimes even bond and find synergy with each other. However, some party members are temporary. Some paths begin to diverge due to things like moving away, finding new interests and new friends, or simply having a fight that severs our ties. In the worst cases, they pass away. As someone that tends to have a hard time adjusting to friendship breakups and loss, framing it in this way has helped me, and it also reminds me of the party members I still have that I choose to have on my main story quest. And also that they choose me to be part of their main party too. I saw on a TikTok once that friends are like Pokemon. Maybe we catch a lot of them, but only 6 will get to go to the Elite Four with us. And that's okay! Even in Final Fantasy Tactics, our childhood friend, Delita Hyrule, leaves our party because he's figuring out his own life and values. But we still are intrigued with what's going on in his life and what he's up to. I personally still care for him, even if he makes questionable choices that we disagree with. Other times, we have reluctant party members and people we align with, such as Magus, who was once thought to be the main villain of Chrono Trigger, ends up joining your party if you choose to spare him. Sure, he's a lone wolf, but he helps us. We do sometimes work with people we do not get along with. Now that we have our party members situated, how can we use RPG framing as a way to overcome hard moments? Unfortunately, suffering is a part of human life due to the nature of our imperfection. As much as I would love to live a life of complete comfort, it's simply unavoidable to have to do uncomfortable things and, on more extreme ends, suffer through trauma, which I'm sure you have too. For most characters in any media, they are imperfect and scarred. Cloud Strife is a man who has lived his life trying so hard to uphold a story that he was in Soldier, yet is tormented by the Nibelheim incident. Yet, he is able to sort out his memories and confront the truth with the help of Tifa. When I go through hard times, sometimes it's easier to relate my hardships to the RPG story that we've been building. I'll suffer through something unbearably difficult, but I can overcome it because I am the main character. I can become my own hero and grow into something bigger than this weakness, just as Cloud does. It is one chapter in a really long RPG story that will ultimately lead us to where we are meant to be. Being left with the scars of our past and our trauma, it can feel quite defeating and isolating. We've all been in dark places, wondering if we can ever get back to the light. Maybe we even feel that we lost ourselves along the way, chasing who we once were. It's easy to feel helpless. We are only human after all, and sometimes being human feels like a weakness. I know for myself, I have wished that I wasn't anxious and autistic. Sometimes these things prevent me from having normal relationships or opportunities that other people get to have. because I get too scared or I don't really know how to handle my emotions sometimes. But so many characters that I love are imperfect. Yuna, Squall, Terra, Vanille, Kane. Just to name a few, they all have suffered greatly and have had moments of weakness. Squall pushing people away, Terra feeling weak and losing her will to fight, Vanille hiding her lies and guilt with a smile. And yet, I realize I love these characters because I see myself in them. If I can love these characters, perhaps I am still lovable too, despite my flaws and things that I feel insecure about. I want to tell you that flaws are nothing to be feared. In fact, they make for good writing and stories. The truth is, it can be hard to feel like we must be perfect all the time. It is refreshing to see characters grow after a dark period. Why would the same not apply to us? Sure, characters are fictional, but the ideas must come from somewhere. They come from people who have dealt with hardships and want to share these stories. Show that it's okay to mess up and that we can get up and try again. That we are multifaceted. And you know what? People who refuse to see beyond your mistakes are not meant to be part of your journey. Remember our party members from earlier? Those are our friends, and as cheesy as it seems from Kingdom Hearts, our friends are our power. We are not meant to be alone. We need community. We need to be seen and heard and accepted for who we are. Switching gears for a bit, another thing that we gain with experience points are abilities and spells. Even getting our own skill trees and sphere grids to place how we want to build ourselves. These abilities could be skills we apply to our jobs, such as learning a skill like a computer program for entering data. There are also abilities like learning how to socialize so we can make friends, or even advocating for ourselves when we feel hurt or uncomfortable with something. Maybe at level 1, we wouldn't have the courage to strike up a conversation, but level 10 is different. Magic spells, on the other hand, are a little difficult to translate to real life because we can't cast Ultima, even though that would be super cool and potentially dangerous. If you see Sephiroth casting Supernova on me, don't intervene, I'm where I want to be. One of my favorite Final Fantasy classes is the White Mage. I love how they have so much raw healing ability and can really keep the party up when heavy damage is being dealt. It got me thinking about what heals me. My personal Curaga spells. When I need to cast a Curaga spell on myself, I do a lot of self-care. I reach out to friends when I need it, allow myself to feel emotional and process, and try to remind myself that it's okay to feel hurt and mess up. We often get real-life debuffs too, and they can either be temporary or permanent depending on life circumstances. And maybe these debuffs, yeah, they'll go away after a few turns, but without treatment, they last and make it hard to live our lives normally. Everybody loves it when you play Pokemon and you get poisoned, and every step you take, it just glitches your screen and plays that little sound, and then your Pokemon dies right before you get to Nurse Joy. Yeah, we've all been there. Asuna is a great purifying spell, and it's up to you to find what your personal Asuna spells are. If I feel depressed, usually it means it's time to do some self-reflection and make sure I'm eating. It's easy for me to fall into the habit of staying in bed and hiding when everything feels overbearing. I love being a white mage in Final Fantasy XIV because I love being able to help when I can. But it doesn't hurt to have the party provide some extra protection like cover or damage reduction spells, or even that extra healer that helps you out too. RPGs ultimately have an ending, right? But our life only ends when it's truly the end. So do we really have this ultimate goal? It's hard to say. Nothing in life is truly guaranteed, so it's important to not take what we have for granted. And perhaps the exciting thing is that we never know where life will take us next. And RPG characters don't know either, and we as people are on our first playthroughs. When we mess up and boss encounters, we try again or take a break and try later. If we want to find out how life turns out, we have to take steps forward. Even if we have some setbacks along the way, maybe our boss fights are taking a big test, moving somewhere far away, getting through a scary surgery, or ending toxic relationships. Either way, we have experience from before and will gain more after every real-life boss encounter. We continue to level up, choose where to put our skill points, and can consult our parties on what our next steps are. Remember, it's easy to get caught up in the small stuff, But don't forget to enjoy the journey. When we get to the end of an RPG, we often take with us the feelings it gave us. We can laugh about the boss fights we got walled on with other people who can relate. We get teary-eyed thinking about a tender, emotional moment. We also think, what an incredible journey it's been. And even when it got hard, tedious, or boring, doing those grinds, there is so much to love. Cherish every moment, easy and hard, because it makes for the most beautiful moments in life. We can overcome loneliness to find love within a partner, friendship, and family, whether blood relations or chosen family. We can overcome abuse to find self-worth, confidence, and happiness again. We can overcome failure to find success, growth, and a new lease on life. Isn't that what makes life worth living? If we can find what we love about our favorite games and apply them to our real lives, we can find beauty and joy in it too. Thank you very much for watching this sentimental video. I hope that no matter where this video finds you, that you find a rare item drop and a metal slime that gives you tons of freebie experience on your path. Remember to leave a like, comment, and perhaps subscribe if this video resonated with you. Be good to each other. Love you, care you. Bye bye!